think about it so much, and to always remember the one big rule: do not look outside when the whistler goes past. Not that we would look even if we wanted to. I mean, this man literally just put a whole shred on the window and he locks it up every single time. So, of course, even if we did try to look at it, which means we have to go to his bedroom, take the key, go back into the kitchen, try to make some noise, and then open the shred so that we can actually see what's happening. By the time we do it, obviously, let's be honest, the whistler would have passed away. You know what I mean? Also, my peeps, do you guys love horror stories? Do you guys want some horror stories? Well, I got 3 for you guys. I got 3 horror stories that are just gonna make you guys not wanna sleep and make you guys wanna grab a blanket. Oh, this is a pillow. Wanna grab a pillow, have some water, have some popcorn, honestly, and just know that tonight you're not gonna sleep. Let's get right into the stories. So the first story that we have is something walks whispering past my house every night at 3:03 a.m. So every night, no matter the weather, something walks down our street whispering softly. You can only hear it if you're in the living room or the kitchen when it walks by. But it always starts exactly at 3:03. The sound starts fade somewhere near the beginning of the lake. We are towards the middle of the lake, so the whisper moves past us before fading away in the direction of the cul-de-sac. When I was young, my sister and I would sneak into the kitchen some nights to listen. Mom and Dad didn't particularly like that, but they never gave us a hard time because obviously they knew that we always stuck to one big rule, which is do not look at what is whispering outside. I feel like you don't need to tell me that. Honestly, I'm the type of person that I feel like you don't need to tell me. I'm perfectly fine. I will listen to everything that you said. You tell me not to listen outside, I'm not listening. Matter of fact, let's pack our bags and leave. My neighborhood is a funny place. I lived here since I was 6. The houses are small but well kept, good sized yards, plenty of places to play. There are a lot of other kids near my age. I turned 13 back in October. We grew up together and we always play 4 square in the cul-de-sac or roam around from back porch to back porch. This was a good place to grow up. I'm old enough to see it. But there's only 2 strange things in this area. The first one is the whistling at night, and the second one is good luck. What do you mean good luck? I feel like good luck is like a good thing. I feel like I'll stay here if I'm winning lotus and at the same time I'm winning banks and I have my own mansion. I'll be like, oh yeah, I live here. I'm the type of person to live here. You know what I mean? But the whistling never bothered me that much. Like I said, I couldn't even hear it from my bedroom. But Mom and Dad don't like talking about it, so I stopped asking questions. My dad is a strong guy, tall, calm. He has an accent since he moved to the US as a child. His family, my grandparents, they are from the island. That's what they call it. My dad, the only time he isn't so calm is when the whistler comes up. I mean, who would be? Imagine every night you're sleeping and you be hearing whistlers outside at 3 a.m. You be like, did you hear that? No, I didn't hear that. You be hearing that every day, like, Jesus Christ, Molly, I need my Bible. I'm telling you, you just be having a Bible next to you just so you don't hear this. I feel like I'll do the same. Talks a little quicker, eyes move faster. He tells us not to think about it so much and to always remember the one big rule: do not look outside when the whistler goes past. Not that we would look even if we wanted to. I mean, this man literally just put a whole shred on the window and he locks it up every single time. So, of course, even if we did try to look at it, which means we have to go to his bedroom, take the key, go back into the kitchen, try to make some noise, and then open the shred so that we can actually see what's happening. By the time we do it, obviously, let's be honest, the whistler would have passed away. You know what I mean? So, we never did that. But my mom, on the other hand, I don't actually know how she feels about the whistler. Every time when I see her out in the living room before at 3:03, when the sound starts, I could see her if I crack my door open just an inch to peek. She's not out there often, at least I haven't caught her that much. But once or twice a month, I think she sits out there in our big red car just listening. The whistler has the same tune every night. It's cheerful. I can't do the sound. I'll just be like, I feel like you just have to be committed to keep making the same sound every night. You just have to be committed. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm like, every night, don't you lose rhythm? I feel like I'll lose rhythm. I feel like I'll be like, wait, how did I do that yesterday? I feel like I'll just record the whistler just to make sure that, are you actually sticking to the same routine, my dear? You need to stick to the same routine. You know what I mean? Remember how I said there are two odd things about where I live? Well, besides our night whistler, everyone in our neighborhood has some really good luck. It's kind of hard to explain, and Dad doesn't actually like talking about it that much. But good things just seem to happen to people in this area. Like, for example, winning a radio contest, getting a promotion at work, or finding some arrowheads buried in the yard, the authentic kinds. The weather is pretty good, there is no crime, everybody's garden blooms extra bright in the fall. A million little lessons I heard my mom say about living here, but the main reason why we stay here is because of my little sis, Nola. She was born very sick, something to do with her lungs, and we couldn't even bring her home when she was born, and she had to breathe with machines. Moved into this area to be closer to Noah at the hospital. As soon as we moved here, Noah started getting better. The doctors couldn't figure it out. They turned it up to that we were doing very well, but my parents knew. Even I knew. Noah getting better was one of the million little blessings that we got for living in our neighborhood. So that's why we stayed. I mean, honestly, I would stay if my baby be like healed. Like, wait, does this place actually make you revive the dead? I mean, like, let's say if someone is sick, right? I feel like if someone is sick, I'd be like, let's come to this place. They're like, oh, she's healed. I'm like, oh, everybody can live past 90 now or 100 years old. I'm just joking. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is a good place. I mean, like, there's no crime, which is like kind of good. There's like perfect. So honestly, I'd be like, yeah, I want to live here. Honestly, who doesn't want to live in a place where like every day you just be sleeping? The only issue is just the fact that you just need to put some headphones in if you're a light sleeper, because the night will be working past your night. But like, other than that, if I get wins, I'm good. So that's why we stayed after we found out. For every small miracle that happens here every day, now and then some bad things happen, but that only happen if you look for the whistler. See, our neighborhood has a welcoming committee. They show up with macaron croissants and a gift basket and a folder whenever someone new moves in. They are very friendly. 4 people showed up in our house when we moved in 7 years ago. The community talked, and they gave me a Snicker bar and took turns holding Noah. First week from the hospital, so they were extra careful. Then the committee asked to speak to our parents. Then the committee asked to speak to my parents in a private. So I was sent to my room when I still managed to hear every single word. The morning committee told my parents about how nice the neighborhood was, really exceptional, hard to explain kind of nice, and they told my parents about an even hard to explain whistling that happened every morning at 3:03. At the tick of 3:05, but even harder to explain whistling that happened every morning at 3:03 and ended at the tick of 3:05. The group, our new neighbors, warned my parents about the whistler was quiet, would never harm us or hurt us as long as we didn't look at what was making the sound. You don't have to tell me twice. I'm like, I wouldn't do that. I'm not crazy. I'm not the mouse that looks for the cat. I don't do that. I respect my position, and I'm like, since I got like, I'm having fun here, I'm gonna keep my peace. While I was talking, I was like, oh, I made some pie. This sounds good. Okay, it's too hot. I won't eat it now. Now, where was I? Okay, I think I was like where the committee came to tell their parents that, hey, there's some whistling thing that's happening there at 3:03 and ends at 3:05. But I feel like that's like 2 minutes. I don't think 2 minutes will actually. I can be patient for 2 minutes. Our new neighbors warned our parents that the whistler was quiet, would never harm us or hurt us as long as we didn't look at what was making the sounds. This part they stressed, and I pushed my ears into the door. People who went looking for the whistler had their lives changed, sometimes tragically. A black cloud would hang over everyone that looked. Anything that could go wrong would. The folder envelope they committee bought over contained newspapers, clippings, stories, car accidents, ruined lives, public deaths, freak accidents. Not everybody dies. I heard the head of the committee tell my dad, but the life just goes out of them. And even if they do live, there's no light in them ever again. No presence. My mom, I could tell she wasn't taking this seriously, and actually she started asking if this was some type of prank they play on new neighborhoods. At one point, my mom got so angry and even accused the committee of trying to scare us of our new home, and even asked them if they were racist on account of my dad being from the islands. My dad calmed her down and told her he don't think they're actually playing to them. Like, he grew up in the islands, so he knew that. He calmed her down and told her that he could tell our new neighbors were sincere and they were just trying to help us. He explained that he grew up hearing these types of stories from his mom, and he knew that there were some strange things that walked among us. Some of those strange things, they were good, and some of them, they were bad. The committee left, Dad went out to the hardware store, bought the canvas blinds, the latches, the locks, and installed them on every window in the house after dinner. The first night in our new house, I crept out of my room at 3 a.m. only to find my dad awakened, sitting on the living couch holding my baby sister. Wait, you guys wanted to actually test that theory out? I feel like I would not have taken them seriously. I'd be like, okay, no, because why would I even look at 3 a.m.? I feel like a common person with common knowledge, with common sense, and even like their head, even if they never told you, when you were sleeping, you'd be like, and they'd be like, ooh, like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not waking up. I'm not waking up. There must be someone walking down in the middle of the stairs. There might be someone maybe coming home late at night and just happens to do that. You know what I mean? And if they don't do that and they keep doing that every single time, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna try to look. This is way too late for me to even try to see what's going on. I'm not even gonna do that. I respect my peace. I feel like I'll do that, But my dad held up his finger in a shh motion, patted the couch next to him, and we sat. At exactly 3:03, we had the whistler. Do, 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 do. And as every 3:03, it came and it went just like our neighbor said. The whistler returned every night, and we never looked back. We even enjoyed the million little blessings. And Noah's breathed on her own. She's grown into a strong, clever girl. My dad even joined the welcoming committee. We don't get new neighbors often. Why would anyone want to leave? But when the new neighbors moved in, the committee brings them macaron castles, a gift basket, and a folder to tell them what's been happening in those areas. I can always tell by the look of my dad's face when he comes back and if the family took the committee seriously or if he will be getting new neighbors soon. Ooh, dang! Not long ago, a family moved in across the street from us. The previous owner, Miss Millie, passed away at the age of 105. That must be the lucky charms day. She lived a good life, a long life. Our new neighbors seemed like they fit in just fine. They believed in the welcoming committee, took my dad's advice about locking shutters since they had a young child of their own. Whatever news clippings were in the folder, whatever evidence, my dad never let us see. But I imagine it must have been awfully convincing since our neighbors got along with no issue for the first month. One night when our new neighbors had to leave town, they sent their son Holden to stay with us. He was 12, a year under me at school. I didn't know him well before that night, but as soon as his parents dropped him off after dinner, I could tell it was about to be a bad time. I could tell that too. I mean, kids get curious. Some things they can't do at their own parents' house, but they can definitely do at somebody else's house. And I feel like as a kid myself, I'm like, don't you wanna look at it? Man, at least at home I'm scared, I'm alone. I gotta respect my parents, but here I don't have to respect your mom and dad. Right? I can do this and blame it on you. So are we doing it? You know who's always there at the whistling every night? Holden asked at the moment to the elders left the room. The three of us were sitting in the dining, some Disney movie playing idle on the television. My sister and I exchanged a glance. We don't talk about it, I said. I think it's that weirdo that lives in the big yellow house on the corner. Holden said, Mr. Charles? My sister asked, no way, he's really nice. I'm sure, must be a psycho killer then. No, that is. We don't talk about it. I repeated, let's go to my room and play Nintendo. Oh my god, action is not going on. Nintendo. Okay, you know what? This thing. I can't say it with my lips, I don't know. So we spent a few hours actually playing games, eating popcorns, watching movies, a typical sleepover. But I could tell that Holden was getting hasty. After my parents had wished us a good night and took the blinds off, gone to bed, Holden stood up from his beanie bag and walked over to where Noah and he actually said, have you ever tried looking? No, we asked, it's nearly time. Like most sleepovers, we actually conveniently ignored any suggestion of bedtime. I was shocked to see he was actually right. It is exactly 3 a.m. Honestly, I can't. I even tried to look because my dad locks the blinds every night and has the key. He continued. He ignored me. So does our dad, said Noah. No, he don't. You saw him do it, I said. A little sharper than I meant to sound. Holden grinned. Your dog likes the blades. Yeah, but he doesn't hide the key. He keeps them right on his normal keychain. So, I asked worried because I already knew what he was going to say next. Because I had noticed that my dad didn't actually bother hiding the keys anymore because after years of living at this house, we took it seriously. So after your dad locked up before your parents went to bed, I went to the bathroom and on my way, I may have peeked into their room and I may have seen their keys chain on his nightstand and I may have went and borrowed the key to the blinds. Oh my god, get this kid out. Get this kid out. don't put me in this. Get this kid out. You can check if you want. Just open your doors. And look, you will see his keychain right there on the nightstand. Same. I had told both of you. No one asked at him and his grin only grew louder. You're lying. Holden shrugged. You can check it if you just open your door. Just open your parents' door and look. You will see his keychain right there on the nightstand. Dang. You're lying. Stay here. I told both of them don't move a muscle. I headed to my parents' room but hesitated at the door. If Holden wasn't lying, my dad would be angry. Beyond angry, I was scared thinking about, but more scared of an open window with the Whistler right outside. I opened the door, barely an inch, and looked at it, but it was dark to see. Taking a deep breath, I walked into the room. 2 steps into the door, I froze. The Whistler started, and I could hear it clearly from our parents' room. I never realized that they must have heard the sound every night since we moved into the house. They never told us. I don't think I could have slept through it. I stood there listening to the Whistler coming closer and closer, unsure what I should do, whether I should turn on the light or call for my dad. Soft sounds from the living room brought me back into reality. Nola! I yelled, running from my parents' room. Holden and Nola were standing near the front door next to the window. Holden wasn't lying. I could see him flipping with the locks on one of the blinds. I heard a click. He did have a key. Holden let out a quick laugh. Nola stood next to him, hunched up, afraid but maybe curious. The Whistler was right outside our house. No, get out. Get out. No, but I'm not about to die because of someone else's mistake. You know what I'm saying? I think I made a sound called it. I can't remember. Time froze. Clogs hand near to the face, but I found myself moving. I am not fast. I have never been electric. Somewhere through, I covered the space between myself and Nola in the moment. My eyes were locked on her, but I heard Noah pull the blinds all the way down so it could release. I heard the snap of it start to raise. I heard the Whistler just on the other side of the window. But I had my arms around Noah. I turned us so she was facing away from the window. At the same time, I jammed my eyes shut. The blind went open. The Whistler started. I felt Noah shaking my arms. Don't look, okay? I told her, don't look. Don't turn around. I feel like I need to do this. I need to eat this. I made a pie. Right? Pretty good stuff. You don't allow me to eat, right? Because it's like a story time, right? We were positioned that she was facing back towards the hallway and I was facing the window. My eyes were still closed. I felt her nod into my shoulder. Holding her asked, silence. I gingerly felt for the window. Eyes still sealed shut. The glasses were cold against my fingertips, colder than it should have been for the time of the year. I moved my hand up the window and searched for the strings of the blind. The glass began to get warmer the further I reached, and there was a gentle hum feeding back into my fingertips. Oh my god, it's literally right there. Oh, this is scary. I tried not to think about what might be on the other side of the window. Finally, I touched the string and yanked the blind shut. I opened my eyes in the dim light. Linking out of the kitchen, I could make out Holden, pale and small, staring at the closed window. Holden? I asked again. He turned back towards me and he screamed. Everything became a flow of motion. Lights sparked to life in the hall, then the living room. My parents' footsteps stumbled across the hardwood floor. I did not turn to look back at them. My eyes were glued to Holden. He was pale. He bit his lips so hard that there was a tiny line of blood running down his cheek, and he wet himself. Damn, what did you see? That must have been bad. Can I see? I'm just joking. I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad for the fact that he's young, but I don't feel bad for him. I feel like you wanted to see, and then you got what you wanted to see. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for you. What happened? My dad asked from the beginning. I managed to swallow away from Holden and look back. He looked. I have never seen my dad scared, but I saw it in the moment, an old, ugly terror's niche on his face. Just Holden? He muttered to me. I nodded yes. My dad let out a breath. He looked so revealed, I nearly expected him to cheer. But then he turned to Holden and my dad's face changed. I wonder if he had felt bad, but for feeling good, that Holden was the one he loved. Now, fact, he did. The fact that you could be worried for another person's kids because those kids is like under your care. But man, you know that your kids are well behaved. This kid, you don't know. So it's kind of like, I feel sorry, but at the same time, I'm like, thank God it's not my kids. I feel bad. I will try to help you however I can, but you're the one who looked. My bad. Then there was a knock at the door. We all froze. Holden whispered, "Don't answer it," my mom said. She stood at the threshold for the hall. I always thought she was skeptical and just humbled my dad about the window, the whistler, but the night we were all believers. I noticed that both of my parents had basketball bats they must have taken from their bedrooms. The knock came again, a little louder this time. "Please don't open the door," Holden whispered. My dad walked over to him, hugged him close. "We won't." My dad promised the whole, "Nothing is coming here tonight." Dun, 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 dun. This time the knocking was loud enough to rattle the door. Holden screamed again. Noah clutched her arms around my neck. My mom came over, bent down to us. The door wrapped my sister and me closer. "Call the police," my mom whispered to my dad. The knocking instantly stopped. My dad looked over his shoulders at us. "Do you think?" He was caught up frankly looking at the tail of polite tap tap tap. "Police," something said from the other side of the door. The voice from outside sounded exactly like my mom, like a parrot repeating the words back to her. "Police, police, call the police." Tap tap tap. "Police." My mom pulled us. "Police, police, police, police. Please stop." I heard her whisper. I don't think calling them will help. How would we even know when there ones at the door? How would we know when there ones at the door? You could not have done this in your own parents' house. Now I have to have the guilt of the fact that I failed to protect you while you were in my house. Let's talk about that. The knock came back harder than before, and the door shook. Then it stopped. After a long moment, I heard the knocking again, but it was coming from our bedroom. We all turned towards the bedroom, but the knocking immediately returned to the front door. Front to back, louder than before. Suddenly, the sound was coming from both doors at once. Big, heavy blows like slam hammers. Then something started ripping against the window in the house, then the walls. Then we felt like we were living under drums and being played through the whole night. Or we were told that something was attempting to claw us out of our shell. "Stop!" Holden yelled. The knocking died. "I won't tell," Holden said. "I won't tell." Holden said at the door. "I promise I won't tell anyone what I saw. Just please go away." We waited for nearly a minute, then we heard it. A slow tap, 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 tap. From the window Holden had looked through earlier. Holden started to snobbing like a prisoner watching claws being boiled outside their cell. My dad had him brushing his hair, but never lied to him, never told him things would be okay. I wonder how would be like, "I'm sorry, it's gonna be okay." No, my kid. No, you screwed us up. I'm just grateful that my kids didn't see what you saw. So it's coming after you. Shh, don't worry. Don't look like that. The tapping at the window waiting for the rest of the night. We hollered against in the living room for how long. Eventually, my mom tried to take us kids into the room while my dad stayed to actually watch the door. But the second we moved into our bedroom, the knocking came back so loud it was impossible to ignore. I was afraid the dog couldn't take it. We went back to the living room. The knocking stopped. Only the tap, tap, tap remained. None of us slept that night. Tapping around 7 a.m. That's about the time the sun came up. We waited another 2 hours before my dad opened the blinds. He made us all go back to my parents' bedroom first. I heard him open the door, then came back in. Okay, he told us, "It's done." Holden's parents came back at lunchtime. My mom and dad walked Holden over to the house, and they all waited inside for quite a while. Noah and I watched from the window. She stuck at me the whole time, right at my side, sometimes holding my hand. When my parents came back, they looked grim, but they couldn't tell us what they'd seen. They looked grim, but they couldn't tell us what they said to Holden's parents. It was a Sunday, so we spent the night together, ordering pizza and watched a movie. The night, everyone slept in my room. Noah and my mom in the bed with me. My dad in the chair he pulled over. There was no knock in that door or any night since. We didn't see much of Holden or his parents for the rest of the week. But by Thursday, there was a moving truck in the driveway. Noah and I had watched them packing the whole afternoon after school. What struck me most is how tired Holden and his parents looked. All three of them had the same grim mouth, lightless eyes. Even from across the street, I could tell something was very wrong. Holden and her family were gone before sunset. I remember what the original welcoming committee said to our parents the moment when they moved in. Said that not everybody who looks dies, but even those that live, the light just goes out of them for the rest of their life, are full of misfortune, a million little tragedies. I think Holden's parents must have looked either to comfort him if they didn't believe, or share the burden if they did. I watched Noah some days, happy, young, alive, and I wonder if I had been slower. If she had looked out of the window, would I have looked too? To be able to share the same burden? I'm glad that I don't have to find out. We still live in the house. We still live in the neighborhood. We still hear our whistler walking past every night. The blessings, the luck. The good things here are too good to leave, but we are careful. We don't have friends over to spend the night, and my dad hides the key to the blinds very, very well. Not that I will look. Some things you just don't need to look for. Damn, that was a good one. That was a good one. I felt through my bones. I was like, you know what? That was a good one. That was a good one. Like, honestly, I mean, like, some things you don't need to look. Some things you just don't need to look. I know I promised you guys 2 more stories, so we're gonna do one quick story, and then the other story I will make it into like another part 2. So we can catch up and tell me guys, how did you like the story? I hope it was very interesting. I did try to kind of narrate it in my own type of way, you know what I mean? But so tell me guys how it was, and let's get on into another one. The other one is my daughter won't stay dead. What do you mean by that? What do you mean your daughter won't stay dead? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to do? I feel like that was weird. Like, you want your child to be dead? Okay, let's see what's going on. My wife and I spent almost 7 years trying to have a child. At first it was exciting. Every month we convinced ourselves that this would be the one. We brought pranks to test. In bank, we stopped drinking, we changed our diets, we tracked calendars, temperatures, ovulation cycles until our lives revolved around numbers instead of days. Eventually, excitement turned into routine. Routine turned into disappointment, then disappointment became something we stopped talking about. People meant well, but after hearing, maybe it's just. People meant well, but after hearing, maybe it just isn't meant to be. Enough times you stop wanting sympathy. You just smile, change the topic, and go home. When my wife finally got pregnant, neither of us believed the test. We took another, then another, then we went to a clinic because we were convinced that it had to be wrong. They weren't. Oh, I feel so sorry for you guys. You guys were like, damn, you guys like did not believe this thing for this whole time because you kept trying and trying, that when the child came, be like, us? Us? The people who have been trying the ding all the time? Us? Yes, you guys. Yes, you guys. Just because you want a kid doesn't mean that you're gonna get the kid the time when you want. Some things you just have to be like, embrace the patience. Embrace the patience. You know what I mean? Which is something that I need to learn because honestly, patience has been thrown in my face lately. I feel like I just need to swallow it and be like, okay, I'm gonna be patient now. 9 months later, our daughter Leah was born. She had my wife's eyes, my nose, a tiny birthmark tucked behind her left ear. A constant. She cried constant for the first few months and kept us awake almost every night. I have never been happy in my life. Everything we owned slowly became hers. Everything we owned slowly became hers. The walls filled with paint. The walls filled with finger painting. The refrigerator disappeared beneath drawings she proudly bring home from school. There were tiny shoes from the front door. Plastic dug into the bathtub, half-fished puzzles scattered across the living room. The house finally sounded alive. Then on a Sunday afternoon, everything ended. My wife was upstairs folding laundry while I was in the kitchen looking for a screwdriver. Lily was running through the hallway pretending that the floor was lava, laughing every time she jumped from one branch to the next. I remember telling her to slow down. A second later, I had a foot slip and the sound of her body trampling down the wooden staircase. This must suck, honestly. 1 step, 2, 3. It happened so fast, but the time that I reached for the front door, she already stopped moving. She was lying at the bottom of the stairs on her side. One arm was twisted beneath her. There was blood splattered across the hallway floor beneath her head. A jaw claw ran along the side of her skull where she snicked the edges of her bottom stab. My wife came running beneath her. She dropped to her knees, screaming Leah's name, trying to wake her, brushing the hair away from her feet. Even as her hand became slick with blood, I couldn't move. I just stared and just stared. A few seconds later, our daughter had been laughing, and now the only sound in the house was my wife crying. The old grandfather's clock and tick in the hallway. I took Leah's hand. It was still warm. I kept telling myself that meant I took her hand. I kept telling myself that meant that she was still there somehow. Then crack, a snap wet sound. I thought it came from the floor, but then another crack. My wife looked at me. Did you hear that? Before I could answer, Leah's body twitched. Not like someone waking up violently. Her back edged so hard I had her spine pop. What do you mean her spine pop? She's dead, right? Not like someone waking up violently. Her back edged so hard I heard her spine pop. Her tiny fingers crawled until her nails snapped backwards. Her jaw hanged open in oh my god, what did you guys have? That's not a kid! My wife screamed and reached for her. I grabbed her arm before she could. Something was wrong. Something was wrong, very wrong. Leela's stomach began to swell. The skin stretched tighter and tighter, veins reaching beneath it like a blue root. It looked as though something inside her was pressing outward. Then her ribs started moving, not breaking, moving. One by one, they bent outwards beneath her skin, each accompanied by a slicking crash that arched through the room. The flesh split between them. Blood spilled across the hardwood floor. I could smell it immediately. Hot, Millicent. The water was on its own. Moist, tall. Her chest pulled open with a slow, wet, ripping sound. I hear for the rest of my life. Something inside her, not organs, not bones, a hand, small, covered in blood. It gripped the edge of the torn ribs like something crawling out of a hole. Another hand appeared. My wife collapsed beside me, snobbing so hard that she couldn't move. I could not look away. The little girl forced herself through the opening, twisted, wriggling as a piece of flesh crawled into her shoulder. She landed on the floor with a heavy, wet slab. She was covered from head to toe in blood. Bits of skin, tooths still hanging from her head. The room smelled like a slaughterhouse. She tried to stand, her legs stood beneath her like a newborn. For taking the steps, she stumbled twice before biting her band. Then she looked at us. She had my daughter's face. Can we move? I'm like, can we kill her? Can we just? We just witnessed something coming out of our daughter's body, and it is her. How do you explain coming out of my body and it's her? And then when we look down, this our child who looked like a demon just came out of her, and then she's dead because her body kept on ancient up and going into different types of size. And then she has our daughter's same face. Let's kill her. I'm sorry, but like, this is weird. This is weird. Okay, I wouldn't say that. I would. I definitely would. Honestly, I'm the type of person like, yeah, I can't stand this nonsense. This is too much even for me. The same freckles, the same crooked smile, the same missing front tooth. She blinked, tilted her head, and in the same stupid voice she used every morning before school. Daddy? She smiled at my wife. Mommy, we buried what was left of our daughters before sunrise. Neither of us spoke while we dug. How do you even speak? You're like, do you know what happened there? Yeah. She fell on the steps and then she died, and then something came out of her body, and then it was her. And then she said our name. Let's bury her. Let's bury our dead daughter. How do you do that? Like, honestly. We buried her we wrapped what was remained of Leah in an old bedsheet because neither of us could bear to look at what her body had become. There wasn't much left to recognize anyway. Bones, blood, torn skin, and an empty shell that looked as though something had came out from inside. We buried her beneath the old trees lying at the edge of our backyard. Then we walked back into the house. The little girl was asleep on our couch, curled beneath one of Leah's bedrolls. When she woke, she smiled at us. She remembered everything. She remembered her birthday, her favorite stuff, my song my wife used to sing while bathing her. She asked why I buried her. She asked why I buried her blue shoes with the other me. What the hell do you mean other me? What the hell are you? Who are you? Neither of us had told we'd done that. For weeks we hadn't slept. We watched her constantly. We searched for bruises, scars, stitches, anything that might prove that she wasn't our daughter. There was nothing. She laughed the same, cried the same, ran through the house the same. Eventually we convinced ourselves God had given us another chance. I feel like she should not do that. I feel like you can't get a child like that. I mean, a child who came through your child. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Doesn't work like that, because if it did, then we are scared. Eventually we convinced ourselves that God has given us another chance, until she died again. Another Leah crawled out, then another and another. Each one remembered every death. Each one became a little colder than the last. The first time one of them tried to kill my wife, I convinced myself it was an accident. The second time it wasn't. I buried more daughters than I can count. Every one of them had Leah's face. Every one of them called me dad. Every one of them came back. I'm writing this because I don't know what else to do anymore. There are countless little graves in my backyard, and my daughter is standing in the doorway behind me, waiting for me to finish. Oh, he's killing you. Oh, she's killing you. Oh, she's killing you. That's it. Like, that's the end of the story. Waiting for me to finish? You did. You did. I feel like this is the type of story they'd be like, yeah. Yeah, that's the end of the story, guys. Yeah, guys, that was the end of the story. It was very hectic, it was very dramatic. Honestly, I don't believe it's real, but honestly, it was like a nice springly thing, around it. So I hope you guys love it so much, and if you guys want more stories, I'm gonna give it to you guys back, because I got you guys. And, have fun, hug your moms, kiss your babies, and stay protected all day, because everything all day is weird, right? Bye!